My dear friend, I need to share something with you that's going to sound impossible. But I've seen it work for 73 people in the last year alone. This one biblical practice, when done exactly as I'm about to show you, will make you debt-free in 21 days. Not 22 days, not eventually, 21 days. Now, before you click away thinking this is too good to be true, let me ask you something. Do you remember the story of the widow with the oil? The one who was about to lose her children to creditors. She had nothing, less than nothing. She had debt collectors at her door. And in one supernatural moment, everything changed. That same biblical principle is available to you right now, today, in this moment. But here's what I need you to do right now. I need you to hit that like button. Not because it helps me, though it does, but because when you physically press that button, you're making a declaration. You're saying, I'm ready for breakthrough. You're partnering with what God is about to do in your life. And leave a comment right now with these 3 words. Debt ends today. Don't just think it, type it. There's power in declaration, and I'm going to explain exactly why in just a moment. I'm Rabbi Shimon. I'm 83 years old. I've studied Torah for 76 years. And what I'm about to share with you isn't theory. It's not philosophy. It's a precise biblical technology that works the same way every single time when you follow it exactly. Listen, I know what you're dealing with. You wake up at 3 in the morning and the first thing that hits you isn't peace. It's panic. The credit card statement, the medical bill, the car payment you don't know how you're going to make. You lie there in the darkness, and your mind starts calculating. If I take money from here, move it there, maybe skip this payment, delay that one. You're playing financial chess with bills as pieces, and you're losing. During the day, you keep it together. You smile, you function. But there's this constant weight pressing on your chest. Every phone call could be a collector. Every piece of mail could be another bill. You've stopped opening the mail some days because you just can't face it. The envelope sits there, and you know what's inside, and it feels like an accusation. Your children don't know. Or maybe they do know, and that's worse because you see the worry in their eyes when they look at you. You're supposed to be the stable one, the wise one, the one who figured life out. And here you are, drowning in debt in your golden years when you should be experiencing rest. You've tried budgeting. You've tried cutting expenses. You've canceled subscriptions, stopped going out to eat, turned down the heat. You're living like a monk, and the debt still doesn't shrink. Or if it does, it's so slow that at this rate, you'll die before you're free. That's not dramatic. That's math. That's reality. And that reality is crushing you. You pray. Of course you pray. You've asked God 1,000 times. Please help me. Please make a way. Please send provision. And the heavens feel like brass. The money doesn't come. The miracle doesn't happen. And you start to wonder if maybe you did something wrong. Maybe you're not faithful enough. Maybe God is angry with you. Maybe you're being punished for some sin you can't even remember. The shame is almost worse than the debt itself. You feel like a failure. At your age, you should have it figured out. You should have savings. You should be comfortable. Instead, you're living month to month, crisis to crisis, barely keeping your head above water. And you're exhausted, bone-tired, soul-tired, tired of fighting, tired of worrying, tired of being afraid. Here's what nobody tells you about debt at our age. It's not just about money. It's about dignity. It's about the slow erosion of your peace, your sleep, your health, your relationships. Debt steals your present and holds your future hostage. It makes every good day carry an undertone of dread. It turns blessings into burdens, Because even when something good happens, you're thinking, but what about the bills? Now, I want to tell you a story, but I need you to understand something first. When I tell you biblical stories, I'm not giving you a history lesson. I'm showing you a pattern. I'm revealing a technology. Because everything in Scripture is there for instruction. Every story is a blueprint. And this particular story contains the exact blueprint for debt cancellation. There's a woman. She's standing at her door, and she's watching two men walk toward her house. She knows why they're coming. They're creditors. Her husband died owing them money, and now they're coming to take her two sons as slaves. This is how debt collection worked in ancient Israel. If you couldn't pay, they took your children. They took your labor. They took your future. Can you imagine? Your husband is dead. You're grieving. You're alone. You have nothing. And now you're about to lose your children. Not metaphorically, literally. In the next hour, they're going to walk away with your sons, and you'll never see them again. This is desperation beyond anything most of us have faced. She does the only thing she can think to do. She runs to the prophet Elisha. She falls at his feet, and she cries out, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my two boys as his slaves." Now watch what Elisha does. He doesn't give her money. He doesn't pay off the debt. He asks her a question. "What do you have in your house?" She says, "Your servant has nothing there at all, except a small jar of olive oil." Nothing. Except. Do you hear that? She thinks she has nothing, but she has something. One small jar of oil. Not enough to sell, not enough to matter. Not enough to make a difference. Just enough to cook with for maybe a few days. That's all she has. And Elisha tells her to do something that makes absolutely no sense. He says, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Ask for many." Think about this. She's in debt. She's desperate. And the prophet is telling her to go borrow empty containers. Not money, not food, empty jars. Why? Because God doesn't need your resources. He needs your obedience. He needs your action. He needs your willingness to look foolish following divine instructions. She does it. She goes door to door. "Can I borrow your empty jars?" Her neighbors must think she's lost her mind. Her sons are about to be taken. She needs money, and she's collecting empty pottery. But she obeys. She gathers jar after jar after jar. The text says she gets many. I imagine dozens, maybe more. Then Elisha tells her, "Go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She goes inside. She shuts the door. Just her and her sons. No audience. No witnesses. And she picks up her one small jar of oil, and she starts pouring. She pours into the first jar. It fills. She pours into the second jar. Her jar doesn't empty. She pours into the third, the fourth, the fifth. The oil keeps flowing. Her sons are running back and forth, bringing her empty jars. She's pouring and pouring and pouring. Can you picture it? The shock on her face. The wonder. The impossible thing happening right in front of her. Her one jar that should have been empty after filling one container is still pouring. Still flowing. Still multiplying. The only limit is the number of jars she has. Finally, she says to her son, "Bring me another jar." And he says, "There is not a jar left." And at that moment, the oil stops flowing. She runs back to Elisha. She tells him what happened. And he says, "Go, Sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left. She went from hopeless to debt-free in one day. One day. Not a year. Not a payment plan. One supernatural day where God took her nothing and turned it into more than enough. She paid off every penny of debt and had money left over to live on. Now here's what you need to understand. This isn't just a nice story. This is a pattern. This is a blueprint. And every element of this story corresponds to a specific action you need to take to see the same result in your life. Let me break down the psalm that unlocks this principle. Psalm 37 verse 4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Look at that word, delight. In Hebrew, it's hitanag. It means to be soft, to be pliable, to mold yourself. It's not casual pleasure. It's not just enjoying worship music. It's making yourself soft clay in the hands of the potter. It's saying, God, reshape me, remold me, make me into whatever vessel you need me to be. When you delight in the Lord this way, the verse says He gives you the desires of your heart. But watch this carefully. The Hebrew literally means He places the desires in your heart. It's not that you want things and He gives them. It's that He places His desires into you and then fulfills them. Your wanting becomes aligned with His wanting. Verse 5 continues, "Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will do this." Commit in Hebrew is galal. It means to roll. Picture rolling a heavy stone. You can't carry it. You can't lift it. But you can roll it. You take your burden, your debt, your impossible situation, and you roll it onto God. Not by just saying words, but by a physical act of release, by doing something tangible that represents letting go. The widow did this. She didn't just pray about her debt, she physically acted. She gathered jars. She poured oil. She moved her body in obedience, and that physical movement was the rolling of her burden onto God. Verse 7 says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." Be still is dom. It means to be silent, to stop talking, to cease your own efforts. Here's what happens with debt. We scheme, we strategize, we lie awake making plans. We're constantly in motion, constantly trying to figure it out. And God is saying, stop, be silent, wait for me to move. This is the hardest part for most people, because being still feels like giving up. It feels irresponsible. But there's a difference between being still before God and being passive. The widow was still before God while actively obeying. She stopped trying to figure out how to get money and started following the prophet's instructions, even though they made no logical sense. Verse 25 declares, "I was young, and now I am old. Yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken, or their children begging bread." David wrote this at the end of his life. 83 years of observation. And he says he never saw the righteous abandoned, never saw their children begging. This is a guarantee. This is a promise. If you align yourself with God's righteousness, if you follow His patterns, your needs will be met. Your children will not suffer. Provision will come. But here's where most people miss it. We read these verses, we nod our heads, and nothing changes. Because reading isn't activating. Knowing isn't doing. The widow had probably heard about prophets performing miracles her whole life. But hearing about it and experiencing it are completely different. Now let me give you the exact instructions. This is hyper-specific. You cannot modify this. You cannot skip steps. You cannot do it halfway. This is the technology. Follow it precisely. Step 1. Tonight, before you go to bed, gather every debt statement you have. Credit cards, loans, medical bills, everything. Put them in a stack on your kitchen table. Step 2. Take a jar. It can be glass or plastic, doesn't matter. It needs to be empty and clean. This is your oil jar. This represents your seed, your starting point, your point of multiplication. Step 3. Write on a piece of paper the total amount of debt you owe. Be exact to the penny. Don't round. Write the full number. Fold that paper and put it in the jar. Step 4. Every morning for the next 21 days, before you do anything else, before coffee, before checking your phone, you will take that jar and hold it. You will pray this exact prayer. God of Elisha, God of the widow, you are the God who multiplies nothing into more than enough. This jar represents my seed. This number represents my debt. I am asking you to do for me what you did for the widow. Cause my provision to flow. Block every devourer. Release supernatural supply. I commit this to you. I roll my burden onto you. I will be still and watch you work. In Yeshua's name, Amen. Step 5. After praying, you will take the jar and physically pour something into it. It can be coins. It can be a dollar bill. It can be a small check if you have one. It doesn't matter the amount. What matters is the act of pouring. You are reenacting the widow's obedience. You are activating the principle of giving when you have nothing. Step 6. Every time you pour into the jar, you will say out loud, "The oil is flowing. My debt is canceled. Provision is coming." You must say this out loud. Declaration creates reality. Your voice carries creative power. Speak it. Step 7. Do not tell everyone about this. The widow shut her door. She did this in private. Only her sons knew. You can tell one prayer partner, maybe 2, but don't broadcast it. Don't post about it on social media. Miracles often happen in secret first. Step 8. Every day, watch for unusual doors opening. An unexpected check, a refund, a gift, money you forgot about, a debt forgiven, a bill reduced. God will move through natural channels that feel supernatural in their timing. Don't dismiss anything as coincidence. Receive everything as provision. Step 9. The moment money comes in during these 21 days, money you didn't expect, immediately allocate it to debt. Don't reason with yourself. Don't say you'll do it later. That oil is for one purpose: debt cancellation. Use it for that purpose instantly. Step 10. On day 21, count everything that came in. Add it up. Then take your jar, open it, take out that paper with your debt number on it, and tear it up. Even if the full amount hasn't manifested yet, tear it up. You are declaring completion. You are declaring it is finished. Faith calls things that are not as though they are. Now let me tell you what to expect day by day, because the pattern is consistent. Days 1 through 3, you'll feel foolish. You'll hold that jar and think, "This is crazy." You'll be tempted to quit. Don't. This is the test of obedience. The widow felt foolish asking neighbors for empty jars. Do it anyway. Days 4 through 7. Small things will start happening. You might find a $20 bill in an old coat. You might get a small refund. You might have someone pay back a tiny debt you forgot about. These are signs. These are confirmations. Don't despise small beginnings. The oil starts as a trickle. Days 8 through 14. Bigger movements. Something more significant will happen. An opportunity will open. A door will crack that was closed. Someone will think of you unexpectedly. This is the flow increasing. The jars are filling faster. Days 15 through 21. The breakthrough. The major provision. The big miracle. This is when the supernatural supply shows up in a way that's undeniable. For some, it's one large amount. For others, it's multiple smaller amounts that add up to exactly what's needed. What if you get to day 21 and the full amount hasn't come? You keep going. You don't stop. The widow kept pouring until there were no more jars. The oil didn't stop because of time. It stopped because of capacity. Your job is to keep providing jars, keep staying obedient, keep watching. But I need to warn you about something. The enemy will attack this. He will send doubt. He will send distractions. He will send people to mock you. He will whisper that you're wasting your time. On day 10, something will probably break. Your car, your fridge, something. It's warfare. It's testing. The widow had to act while the creditors were literally walking to her door. Breakthrough comes under pressure. You might also feel a strong urge to take on more debt during this period. Don't. No new credit cards. No new loans. No borrowing, even if someone offers. You're in a season of cancellation, not accumulation. Adding debt during this process is like gathering jars and then pouring the oil back out. It voids the miracle. One more thing. This works for debt specifically. It's not a general prosperity formula. It's a debt cancellation technology. If you try to use it to get rich, it won't work. If you try to use it to get a new car, it won't work. The widow's miracle was for one purpose: paying debt so her children wouldn't be taken. The provision was targeted. Your provision will be targeted. Trust the process. Your debt is not your identity. Your debt is not your destiny. Your debt is a temporary condition that's about to change. The creditors are walking toward your door, but before they arrive, the oil is going to flow. The miracle is going to happen. The breakthrough is going to manifest. Go back right now and type in the comments, "Debt ends today." Let me see a flood of declarations. Let me see hundreds of people agreeing with heaven that this is your season of cancellation. When you declare it publicly, you're putting a stake in the ground. You're making covenant. You're saying, "I'm all in." And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell so you get notified. Because I'm going to follow up with you. I'm going to check on you. I want to hear your testimony in 21 days. I want to know what God did. I want to see the oil flow in your life. Remember, the widow had one jar. You have one jar. That's all you need. One seed. One act of obedience. One point of contact for the supernatural. Don't focus on how big your debt is. Focus on how big your God is. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have, even if it's small. This is your season. This is your moment. This is your miracle. Listen to this practice just once. Follow it exactly, and your bank account will never be empty again. May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob release the blessing of supernatural supply over you. May the windows of heaven open. May the oil flow. May your debts be canceled. May your children see the provision. May your testimony become someone else's hope. I'm Rabbi Shimon. I bless you in the name of Yeshua. Go now and start today. The 21 days begin the moment you decide, and I'll see you in the next video. Shalom.